that article used correct pronouns and they were pissed about it. Right now, the letter. Dear Religious News Service, why did you use proper pronouns? You're supposed to dead name them in dead pronoun. In fact, we don't even know their dead name. I think that's how the letter went. It's not like you're teaching people things. It's not like you're instructing people. It's not like you're a leader or anything like that. So I guess gender doesn't matter in that case. If you had power, it'd be a different story. But since you have no power, we'll let you be you. Trans children are under attack right now. And many times they're under attack under their own roof at home. SCOTUS stepping in on a case about transgender children, but not necessarily protecting transgender communities. Guess that's where we are in 2024. Hello, and thank you for joining me. This is a trans moment, and I am Brandi Beckett. Trans Moment with Brandi Beckett is where we take a look at a couple of news items or articles about transgender people or community, or anti-trans bills, or anti-trans people bashing trans people. We will do our best to include positive moments in trans communities and trans individuals alongside the negative stories we must talk about here on a Trans Moment with Brandi Beckett. So for today, the first story we're going to look at is coming out of California, and it is a positive story. So California has banned outing transgender students in schools, so across our country, and apparently in some places in California. Some of the school districts were making some of their rules and regulations that would force teachers and counselors within the school to out these transgender children if they come to them. So California court has ruled that you cannot just out a child because they come to you as trans. This is a great thing because, as we know, trans children are under attack right now, and many times they're under attack under their own roof at home. Many trans children, unfortunately, don't always feel safe in their own home. They don't feel safe to come out to their family members. It doesn't mean they shouldn't be able to come out to others. They should be able to come out in a safe environment, and our school systems should be a safe environment for trans kids to come out and not have to worry about persecutions for expressing who they are and expressing their gender identity. So California protecting trans kids, yay! Very good moment in trans communities and in trans lives. Also, another trans moment. The Supreme Court has weighed in on a case coming out of Idaho. So SCOTUS lifted a broad injunction against Idaho ban on gender-affirming care for minors. What does that mean? Well, this goes back to House Bill 71, HB 71 for Idaho, which is denying and refusing to give health care access to transgender children and threatens to punish providers with hefty fines for providing services for transgender minors. So SCOTUS stepping in and talking about this case, they weren't necessarily talking about transgender community as a whole. They stepped in to only protect the two plaintiffs in a case in Idaho. So 2 Jane Does will be protected and they will get the medical services they need. But all other transgender children in Idaho will not have access to medical treatments for them. And that is hurtful, and that makes me a little sad, y'all. I happen to have been traveling through Idaho just a few weeks ago. What a beautiful place in our country. The topography there's amazing. The mountains, the snow caps, the valleys, the amazing beauty of that state. And to know that beautiful young transgender children are literally under attack in that state makes me cry. They don't have protections. And that is sad. So, SCOTUS stepping in on a case about transgender children, but not necessarily protecting transgender communities. Guess that's where we are in 2024. And in another trans moment, this one, kind of a bright moment. I think it's a bright moment. We're going to hope for a bright moment. This one is about Christian Matson. Christian Matson is a Catholic hermit and a transgender man. So Christian Matson became a Catholic hermit, which is kind of like a monk who goes off and meditates and spends time by themselves, living in isolation. And Christian Matson has been living in isolation in Kentucky, in the mountains up in Kentucky. And so I'm going to put a picture up here of Christian. And Christian came out on Pentecostal, the Pentecost holiday for Catholics, and challenged the Vatican. Was like, yo, y'all say you care about all of us. Well, here we are, and this is who I am, and transgender people exist, and we're not going to go away, is basically what they're going to say. So we should have a place. And the Catholic Church is torn about this. There are some positive affirmation going on. So the local diocese for Christian Matson, his local bishop said, yo, well, being a hermit is not like you're teaching people things. It's not like you're instructing people. It's not like you're a leader or anything like that. So I guess gender doesn't matter in that case. If you had power, it'd be a different story. But since you have no power, we'll let you be you. So that's what the bishop, this dude, the bishop, Stowe is his name, John Stowe. Bishop John Stowe was like, yo, Matson, you have no power, so you can be you. If you had the position where you were actually in a leadership over other people, it would be a different story. We would have a talk about you being you, because that might not be the case. But Bishop John Stowe said, hey, look, you're off living by yourself. Who cares? So be you. So there is a Catholic hermit monk person who's a trans man. Yay. Good on you for coming out as a trans man. We need more out trans people. That is great. Kinda good on the Catholic Church. Kinda, I guess. Accepting an individual. Not all of the Catholic community is happy about this outcoming of this trans man. CatholicVote.org, this organization who wants you to vote with American and Catholic values, apparently, was so pissed that the initial article that came out on the 19th of May, where Kristen Matson comes out, right? So it comes out in this article on May 19th. and that was in the religious news service. And the CatholicVote.org people, they kind of like flipped their shit about this. They were so pissed. They weren't pissed because there's a trans person among them, I think. Well, they probably are. But the way they expressed that was they were very upset about the pronouns that article used. That article used correct pronouns and they were pissed about it. they were trying to, okay, this person right here, this is who we're talking about. This is Christian Matson. And CatholicVote.org insists on using dead pronouns for him, right? They're using the she pronoun and calling him a biological woman. The fuck? So yeah, they're using dead pronouns for him. Think about that. It does not fit him at all. But they're so upset. They're like, damn it, we're still going to use the pronouns we want to use, even though we wouldn't use those unless we had certain special information. And they take a look at Kristen. They're like, I really want to use wrong pronouns, and it's really hard to do. I can just imagine the CatholicVote.org people in a board meeting. In fact, they were. So they had a meeting the very next day, May 20th, and they wrote a letter. They're like, yo, dear religious news service. They're writing out their letter. Dear religious news service. Wow, why did you use proper pronouns? You're supposed to dead name them in dead pronoun. In fact, we don't even know their dead name. I think that's how the letter went. So they wrote their letter to this dude, Edward Bauer. And Edward Bauer from the Religious News Service basically wrote back to him and said, I used pronouns that I was supposed to use, and the article speaks for itself. Goodbye. I have nothing else to say on this. So Edward Bauer was like, just read the article. It speaks for itself. What are you crying about? Basically is what Edward Bauer said to these people. And they're pissed. So the next day they write their own little article about, wah, wah, wah. We need to use wrong pronouns. Wah, wah, wah. And by the way, the Vatican agrees with us. 2 months ago, they wrote this big letter on how trans people are icky and they're not living up to their human potential as being trans. So yeah. So basically, that was the CatholicVote.org's response was, we're upset. We don't know how to express that, but we're going to dead pronoun somebody. Well, yeah, so kind of a good story with the Catholic hermits that gets to be them with no power, no leadership, but you get to be you. Just don't bite off more than the Catholic's willing to give you there. All right, so Catholic Hermit as a trans person. Yay, good job. SCOTUS. Not going to bat for the trans community. Not great. Not great. California going to bat, hitting a solid double for the trans community. Good job, California, protecting trans kids. Yay. Awesome. That has been a trans moment, and I am Brandi Beckett. And remember, love yourself, but more importantly, like yourself. And treat people the way they want to be treated. Bye-bye for now.